Welcome, educators. So let me ask you, are your students struggling with the NAFES English test, even after what feels like countless hours of drills? Well, you're not alone. Here's the thing, the test has evolved, and our teaching methods have to evolve right along with it. This isn't just another exam. The National Assessment for English Skills is really a measure of practical ability. So in this deep dive, we're going to explore a new approach to make sure your students don't just know English, but can truly use it to succeed.
This one question right here, this is our starting point. It completely reframes our goal as teachers, doesn't it? Success on this test isn't about memorizing endless vocabulary lists or grammar rules. It's about showing that you can use the language in real situations. Like figuring out a bus schedule, understanding a warning label, or just following a simple set of instructions.
So today, we're going to outline a really crucial shift in how we teach. A shift that's designed to meet the demands of the modern NAFES test. We're going to talk about moving away from that old-school rote learning and focusing instead on building functional skills that lead to real, tangible results for our students.
Okay, so how do we actually make this shift? Well, it all comes down to 3 core teaching pillars that I am really excited to walk you through. Let's dive right into our first one. Training students to quickly and confidently nail down the main idea, the gist, of any passage they see.
Now, this isn't about understanding every single word. Not at all. It's about training the brain to just cut through all the noise and get the overall point of the text fast. Can you imagine the confidence a student feels when they can do that? It brings down that test anxiety, and more importantly, it saves them so much precious time during the exam.
So, to build this skill, we need to teach 2 really important techniques, skimming and scanning. Think of them like different tools for different jobs. Skimming is for getting that big picture, for answering, what is this basically about? And scanning is for hunting down specific little details, like answering, where's the tape? Or what's the name? They're distinct skills for very different tasks.
All right, once our students can get the gist of a text, they're ready for our second pillar, building a strong vocabulary. But hold on, we're not talking about those endless, disconnected word lists that kids just forget a week later. There is a much, much better way to do this.
This skill turns students from just passive memorizers into active word detectives. Yeah, that's what they are. Instead of just giving them the definition, we're teaching them how to find the clues themselves. And that's so much more valuable on the NAFE test, because it gives them the power to tackle a word they've never seen before with confidence instead of panic.
This is just a brilliant example of what I'm talking about. Instead of just telling them the word is fragile, you give them a puzzle. The clues are all there. Ancient artifact, slightest touch, could break it. You're teaching them how to solve the puzzle, not just handing them the answer key. And that brings us to our third and final pillar. We're going to take that word detective skill we just talked about and apply it to grammar. It's all about reframing grammar, not as a bunch of abstract rules to memorize, but as a practical, hands-on skill that actually looks just like the test itself.
So, here's the crucial point. The NAFES test almost never asks a student to, say, define subject-verb agreement, but it will constantly ask them to spot where that rule has been broken. So our teaching has to reflect that reality. It just makes sense. Using these kinds of short, focused, find-the-error exercises right in your classroom is a fantastic way to simulate the test environment. It builds that exact grammar detective skill that students need to quickly spot what's wrong and grab those easy points.
Okay, so we've got our 3 teaching pillars. Awesome. But even with all these great skills, there's one really common trap that can make students lose points when they're under pressure. So let's talk about that, and more importantly, how to help them avoid it. Just think about it for a second. In that high-pressure, multiple-choice test setting, where do students mess up the most, even when they actually know the material?
And there it is. We've all seen this happen. A student just stares at the 4 options, trying desperately to find the one single correct choice. What does that do? It creates anxiety. It makes them doubt themselves, and way too often they end up second-guessing their way into a wrong answer.
The solution is a simple, but believe me, incredibly powerful shift in their mindset. I like to call it the 50-50 rule. We need to train them to change their goal from find the right one to get rid of the wrong ones.
I mean, think about it. In most NAFES questions, 2 of the answer choices are just clearly wrong. By teaching students to spot those and get them out of the way first, either by literally crossing them out or just ignoring them, you take a tough 4-option question and turn it into a simple choice between 2. That is a game changer for both their accuracy and their confidence.
Okay, let's get practical.
how can you bring all of this stuff into your classroom like tomorrow? Let's talk about some engaging activities that take almost no prep at all.
Here are 3 activities that are ready to go. The detective's lens is amazing for building those evidence-finding skills. Synonym swap is a really fun way to work on that contextual vocabulary pillar. And the what question race? That's a high-energy drill that's perfect for mastering the gist. And here is a super important tip about the materials you use. Make sure your texts actually look like the test. NAFES uses a ton of real-world English. You know, things like brochures, emails, short news articles. They want to see how well students can handle the kind of information they'll see in real life. So, here is a challenge for you, something you can do right now. Try the what question race as a warm-up in your very next class. It's fun, it's competitive, and it's a perfect way to immediately start practicing how to master the gist. I think you're going to be really impressed with the results.
So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this one question. You don't have to change your entire curriculum overnight. Absolutely not. But making just one small focus change, whether it's an activity for mastering gist, or strengthening vocabulary, or practicing grammar in action, that one small thing can have a huge and lasting impact on your students' confidence and ultimately on their success.